Hey everyone, today's session we're going to talk about admin users, your internal employees within the company and their access rights and how they can use our platform. So to do that, let's first go to the admin user screen. You can go to settings, users. We can see in the menu a couple of options. Logging history will show us a log of all the logins to the system, either it's a merchant or your admin users themselves. The management of the users, and admin groups, which is permission set groups that you can define if it's the finance department, high management, support, etc. And the specific user's profile, which we can cover at the end. So let's go to the admin users list. This will show us all the relevant active users that we have in the system. We can see here that we have the full name of the user, his email, the type, which we'll cover shortly, parent company, which we covered in a separate video that you can check, and last successful login to the system, if it's a read or write user, or if it's the admin of admins. In this case, let us go to my user, to terms of configuration. So we see here, first of all, the full name, notify email, etc. as we talked about. The time zone of the user. You can define here the system time zone as GMT, which means that's the default time zone, but you can be based anywhere else in the world, so you can adjust it. This will only adjust the UI, meaning that when that specific user logs into admin, any transaction timestamp will have the time zone that he chose. When communicating with support, when you go to our charge attempt log, they are in the system time zone, which will be GMT, to help us better search for that transaction in our logs internally, which will always be GMT. So whenever reaching out to support, if you're talking about timestamps, be sure to mention if you are set to a different time zone. The language, the system is translated both to English and to Hebrew. So in case you are an Israeli user and you want the interface to appear in Hebrew, you simply choose here. Whenever you log into the system, it will automatically present the UI in Hebrew. We are working on additional languages in the future, and we'll keep you posted when we add an additional feature, an additional language. In multi-factor mode, you can decide if you want to enable multi-factor login or not to the system. Now, in terms of configuration, is admin, meaning the highest level of permission within our platform. This will enable additional buttons and functionality throughout the system, such as adding balances to wallets or configuring different routing logics. Read-only account, so instead of you having to go through permission by permission and configure a different profile for that user, you can decide that this user can view everything, but cannot add, edit, or save any information. So by converting it to a read-only account, all buttons will disappear, and this user will not be able to save anything or update anything in the system. Is active, needless to say, if the user is currently be able to log in and do anything in the system. If you disable the login, you can maintain the user without deleting it, but then disable his options to log into the platform. Admin user type. So not all customers of ours are acquiring. Some do issuing, some do banking, or even a marketplace with limited functionality. So here you can decide what type of an admin user is it. If it's a banking user, he will not see acquiring functionality and it will be hidden from him. This doesn't affect your day-to-day usage. It just simplifies your life. The menus will be smaller with less details on it, so you'll be able to navigate the system in a certain way. And of course, for marketplaces, etc. Parent companies are the configuration that you set in the system and what are in terms of permissions to set up merchants and data access. If you support more than one parent company, meaning let's say you have a marketplace working under your setup and you want to give access to this admin user only to the merchants associated with that marketplace, by limiting the user to a specific parent company, when he's accessing the system, everything will be filtered down to the parent company. Meaning, imagine you've onboarded 1,000 merchants to the platform, 100 of them are using parent company Coriunder, and 900 of them are using parent company eSolo. In that case, only this user will only be able to access the merchants associated with Coriunder. So the list will be filtered down to that specific parent company, which that includes merchant management, customer management, transactions, wires, settlement, everything throughout the system. Here on the left, the login information for the user. So it's a username, email, and of course the password, which you can set manually or send them an intro email that will say, welcome to the platform. Here's your temporary password, which will they be forced to change to their fixed one. You can, of course, forget password on their behalf, and they will get an email from the system saying, forgot password, reset it now. And if they make a mistake 3 times for whatever reason, instead of them having to change the password, you can reset it, meaning they can try again for additional 3 times. Here on the right side, we'll have the groups. So groups comes in 2 aspects. A, permissions and which parts of the system they can view, or in terms of wire approval. In order to approve a wire going out of the system for payout and permissions, you'll have to have 2 sets of groups, high management and finance. So a user associated with high management will be able to approve first signatory for the wire, and the user under finance will be able to do the second signatory rights. Once you have both approvals, you'll be able to pay out. We'll cover all of that when we talk about wire management and the system in a separate video. This was intro to admin users. Be sure to check out our channel with other videos of other functionality on the software. Thank you.